Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Becca from At Home in the Sun, and today we're going to be talking about budgeting for your homeschool. So on this channel, I mostly make budgeting videos. However, we also homeschool. I homeschool my 3 children. So these are 2 things that are really big in our lives. So I thought I would make a video about budgeting for your homeschool. So we're going to be going through my homeschool binder and also my new teacher planner that I'm going to be using this year for our homeschool. So let's put the planner to the side. We will come back to that, and let's look at my homeschool binder. So my family and I use the cash envelope budgeting method for our own personal finances to try to get out of debt more quickly and give every dollar a job. So this right here is my dedicated homeschool cash envelopes and all the categories that I have picked out for our homeschool. So we're going to be going through this. We're also going to be going through how I break down everything and turn all of the categories into sinking funds. And sinking funds basically are funds that you save in advance for. Now for homeschooling, some of those funds we will only use once a year, like maybe an annual subscription or something like that. But other homeschooling funds we will be pulling from throughout the year. So we will talk about that as well. So let's go ahead and open my binder and have a look at my envelopes. So the very first category I have in my homeschool binder is curriculum. We use a mix of different curriculums in our homeschool. We don't just use one curriculum. So we have curriculum. We also have co-op. Now I know a lot of homeschooling families do attend co-ops and a lot of families don't attend co-ops. It's different for every family. We didn't always attend a co-op, but we have for the last 2 years. So that is one of our categories. Supplies, you definitely need a supply fund for your homeschool, just for notebooks, pencils, things like that. So the next category is streaming hours. My kids do utilize streaming hours for some of their subjects, so we have to pay for that. This subscriptions envelope is for our yearly subscriptions for some programs that we use. And then my evaluations envelope. Now, depending on the state that you are in, you may or may not have to do a yearly evaluation. I'm in Florida, and so we do yearly evaluations. We are registered with our county. And so at the end of each school year, you have to put together a portfolio with examples of some of the work your child has done throughout the year, and then have a certified teacher evaluate it and just sign off if the child has made progress or not made progress. So that is saving to pay for a teacher evaluation. And my last envelope is for field trips. We usually like to plan at least one big field trip throughout our homeschooling year, but also if anything else comes up, anywhere else you want to go to, we can pull from that as well. So now I want to talk a little bit about how I decide how much money to stuff into each of my categories. So I'm going to put this to the side and we're going to write down everything. All right, so if you're starting on your homeschool budget, yours won't look exactly like mine. So kind of sit down and brainstorm all of the different categories that you want to add to yours. And you don't have to do the same budgeting method that we do. You can keep it all online and make all of your envelopes digital and never actually pull any cash out of the bank. I just prefer to use the cash envelope method. It just works very good for like my type A personality, and like I like to organize it and all of that. So I really enjoyed actually pulling the cash out. But like I said, you don't have to budget that way, but it is important to try to break everything down and see how much money you're going to need for each category instead of guessing, which is what I was doing this last year. I was kind of guessing how much I needed, and this is actually the first year that I made a dedicated homeschool binder. And as far as all of the homeschooling expenses this year, I foreseeing it like going a lot more smoothly when we have to pull money for things, since I have planned ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and write down all of my categories that I just showed you, and then we'll talk about estimating your costs for each one. So here are my 7 categories that I have broken down our homeschool expenses into. So like I said, yours will look different than mine. So now what we need to do is go through each category and estimate how much you think you're gonna need for this school year. So I suggest estimating higher than what you think you're gonna actually need. And then we'll further break that down into months and weeks and things like that. So for us, I'm estimating that we're going to be needing maybe $200 in supplies. That is pretty high. I'm estimating pretty high. I don't foresee us actually needing that much, but I do want to have enough in case something comes up. So for subscriptions, now, some things actually changed today before I filmed this video, and I may be having to add another annual subscription for another program that one of my children needs. Like, it's like a reading program. They need a little bit of extra help in reading. So I may be adding another subscription. This is for one subscription for another program that we use. It is very pricey, but it is really an excellent program. If you're interested in it, it's called TTRS, Touch, Type, Read, and Spell. It's a typing program. It also helps with spelling and reading and things like that. I really enjoy it, and my kids are doing very well on it, but it is a pricey subscription, but it is worth it. So our next category is streaming hours. So this, I'm estimating we're gonna need about $250. Curriculum, we don't need a ton of money for curriculum. I actually have a lot that I have bought in the past, and I have a lot that was given to me that we can use going forward. So I'm going to estimate about $400 for curriculum. And this is saving for next year's curriculum. So for this year, all of our curriculum has already been bought. And also, since my kids do attend a co-op, our curriculum costs are not as high because of that, because some of the subjects they need are covered at co-op. All right, so our next category is evaluations. So like I said, depending on the state that you're in, you may or may not need to do evaluations. You might do testing or something like that, so you would need to know the costs for that. So for our evaluations, they're not super expensive for us because of the person that I know that can do it. So I'm estimating about $100, and that's for all 3 of my kids. If you know a teacher, like who maybe is a friend or a family member, you may be able to get it done cheaper than that. Field trips, I am estimating we're going to be using $250 to $300 for field trips. And for co-op, this is not their tuition. I have to put that in there. This is not their tuition. This is specifically saving for co-op related expenses. Get-togethers, things like that, field trips with co-op. So these field trips are field trips that we take only as a family. There are some co-op field trips, so that would come out of the co-op fund. I consider their co-op tuition a bill, and I don't stuff bills into my envelopes. That's taken care of first and foremost from our paychecks. So this fund is not for their tuition. Now, you could definitely include tuition if you're doing a tuition-based co-op or some kind of after-school club or something like that that you needed to pay for. You could include the tuition here, but for us, this is not tuition. This is just any other co-op related expenses. Okay, so now that you have your breakdown in front of you, you have all of your categories, all of your estimates here. So now what we need to do is break down everything per month. So we're gonna take all of your numbers and divide it by 12. So I'm gonna grab another color for that. So our budget range, which means how much that we need to budget for homeschool related expenses per month, is going to be between $135 and $165 per month. So that means this is the money that we need to set aside per month for homeschool related expenses in our budget. So to further break this down, what I do is take each number and divide it by 12. So for this, it would be like $15 to $20 a month. Subscriptions would be $20 to $25. Basically, this is what I would be allotting for that category. So there's a range here because I don't necessarily need to stuff $20 a month in supplies. I might could get by with 15 or something like that, kind of see where we are. So I do have a bit of a range in my categories. So streaming, I have like 20 to 25 a month. Curriculum is 30 to 35 a month. Evaluations, $10 a month. And that's a little bit high, but that's okay. I'd rather have a little bit more. Field trips is gonna be 20 to 25 a month. And co-op also 20 to 25 per month. So that's per month. Now, for us, I prefer to break this down even more because we get paid twice a month. So if you got paid weekly, you could break these monthly totals down per week and set aside that much money per week. For us, we do every 2 weeks. So I've already broken that down. So at the bottom here, every 2 weeks, we would need to be budgeting or cash stuffing between $67.50 and $82. This would be every 2 weeks. So when I sat down to do our budget every 2 weeks, I would budget somewhere in this range for all of these categories. Like I said, further break these down. So I would take the 15 to 20, divide those by 2 to further break them down to see how much I would need to stuff in each category every 2 weeks. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the teacher planner that I got this year. I usually print out my own teacher logs, like to log what we have done. But this year I decided to buy a planner. And so this one is from Amazon. I'll have it linked down in the description if you would like to check it out or purchase one. So let's take a look at it real quick. I love the succulents so much. They're so, so pretty. So you have your teacher planner title page, you have some information, holidays and special dates, weekly activity schedule, birthdays. Now this is set up for a classroom teacher. However, if you do give grades in your homeschool, you do have a grade book in here as well. Student information, communication log, which we won't need. And now we are to your monthly spread. So this is July. We're not going to be using July, so let's look at the August monthly spread. So I like that you have a lot of space to write down any big events in the month of August. And here's why I ended up buying this planner is really for the weekly spread. This is what I'm going to be using the most. I really like the way that this is laid out, and I've already kind of been brainstorming some ways that I can use this for 3 kids. So you have your Monday through Friday over here. So I think what I'm going to do to utilize this for 3 kids, these last 3 columns I'm going to use for like individual language arts. So like kid 1 language arts, kid 2 language arts, and kid 3 language arts, because there's going to actually be a lot to write on each day for each kid. So I wanted to separate those. So those 3 will be individual, and then they will share the rest of these columns. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more columns for the other subjects. So like this could be math, and then I'll write, you know, kid 1 did this lesson, and kid 2 did this lesson, and kid 3 did this lesson in math. And that math usually doesn't require a lot of space to write a bunch of things. So and some of our categories will be covered by co-op, like I said, and I can easily write, you know, if they go to co-op on Monday or whatever, I'll just write co-op. And if they do anything after school, I can write that as well. So I'm happy that I have all of these sections here to write down their other subjects, and these will be dedicated for language arts. So I'm really happy with the spread. I don't plan ahead. I did plan ahead for the first few years of our homeschool, and it just wasn't working for us. So what I use the planner for is writing down what we did end up doing that day. So I use it as a log, and the evaluator does look at our logs when we do our evaluations. And even if they didn't, I like to just keep a log of everything that we did so I can, you know, stay on track with all of their schooling and everything, and keep everything in one place. So yeah, I really like this one. I'm really happy with it. It's very simple. but it's kind of like exactly what we need. And I really didn't want to make my own and have to print out my own this year. I wanted to make it a little bit easier on myself. So you have all the months until next June of 2024. And then at the back here, you have some graph paper, and then you have a little pocket here in the back cover. So I'm really happy with this one so far. I'm excited to get everything set up. I even got this really cute flower paper clip. I got this from Amazon as well. So I'm going to be using it as like a bookmark. So we're going to be in August. So I can use it as a bookmark so I can quickly turn to the week that we're on. So like putting it probably like this way. So if I need to open up real quick, I can just open up really quickly to the week that we're on. So if you like these little clips, I will link them in the description down below. I also got those from Amazon. So we went over the planner and we went over the budgeting aspect of homeschooling. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If it was, please give me a thumbs up and leave me some love down in the comments. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy homeschooling. Bye guys.